Today, I'm going to show you the exact strategy that will help you reach £5,000 profit per month from Amazon FBA in 2025. So I've helped dozens of individuals just like you implement this strategy and achieve consistent £5,000 profit months from their Amazon FBA businesses. In fact, using these exact methods, I personally made over £100,000 in the last 3 months of 2024, working only 1 to 2 hours per day. Now, what I'm about to tell you isn't the same surface level advice you usually see from the gurus online. Instead, I'm going to be giving you the exact blueprint that you will need to reach your £5,000 profit month, including how to start with minimal investment, profitable products, and consistently scale efficiently. Now make sure you wait until the end where I'm going to be revealing how you can automate your own Amazon FBA business once you've hit that £5,000 profit in a month, so that you can focus on just scaling whilst working fairly minimal hours just like me. So without further ado, let's get into it. So the first thing that I think is best to cover is smart capital allocation. So that's kind of how you can best use your money that you're using when you first start the business. How you can use it in the best way possible to get started with your business on the right track, first of all. So first up, let's talk about the software that you actually need for your Amazon business. So the most important 2 bits of software that you can have that are completely non-negotiable, you really do need these, is one called SellerAmp SaaS and another called Keeper. So both of these softwares will run you about 15 quid per month for a subscription, and they're both used for analyzing products and determining whether or not that product sells well and what price you can sell it at to make a good profit. These tools are absolutely essential, and I use them to check literally every single thing that I buy with an Amazon business. So I really couldn't run the business without these bits of software. As for kind of the minimum amount that you can start the business with, I would say £1,000 is like the absolute bare bones minimum amount of money that you need to start an Amazon FBA business nowadays. Now, most of this money will just be used for buying stock. Obviously, you've got your costs for SellerAmp and Keeper, and you've also got your actual Amazon seller account, which is usually, I think, £30 per month. And then the rest of that money can just be used for buying stock. So I think capital is so important with Amazon. The more stock you can buy, the more stock you're able to sell, and hence the more profit you're able to make. So the more money you can make available to yourself for these stock purchases, the easier you're going to find it, and the more money you're going to make in a quicker kind of amount of time. I'd say if you're working with less than £1,000, it's going to be really, really tricky to make good money. I think though you can make money with Amazon, you can make gross profit overall with like the software costs and stuff, you're going to be mostly just breaking even. So I would say if you are watching this and you have less than £1,000 to your name, just save some more money, whether that's through your 9 to 5 or another business that you have. Save up some more money, and then once you've got to that point, then think about Amazon FBA. But definitely, if you want to hear more about that particular topic, check out my most recent video on how to sell on Amazon in 2025. Hopefully there'll be a link up somewhere. But yeah, beyond the actual just initial subscription costs for your seller account and software, absolutely all money you should have other than that should be just spent on stock, as that is what's going to make you actual profit at the end of the day. Next up, I want to talk about your product sourcing blueprint. So that's how you actually kind of buy your products. I would say that, sourcing efficiently is the most important thing you can be doing. You don't want to be wasting too much time on sites that are just never going to yield you deals. Also, it's easier said than done. I can't really reveal too much in just this video about what sites I buy from and stuff like that, because, that's strictly for just me and my mentorship clients. But I would definitely say have a look at some big box retailers, head to their clearance sections, keep up with all the sales that they're doing, and manually source those websites. Now remember, you can head down to the video description, and on my website, you will find a list of 100+ different retailers to source from. So if you're watching this and you're just like, I can't really think of any places to source from, you're just completely clueless, head to the website, download that list, and from there, that will give you a really good starting point to kind of go from. You can just check out that list of stores and get sourcing. It can be a little bit tiring, it takes a bit of time at first, but you get more of a knack for it, and you know which products are not really worth checking at all. And over time, as with any skill, you just get better and better the more that you practice it. Storefront sourcing can also be a really good way as a beginner. I'll probably have another YouTube video on this coming very soon. With storefront sourcing, you're basically just looking at your competitors' stock and trying to basically just copy what they're doing. So it can be a really easy way to just kind of not spend too much time sourcing whilst also finding profitable products that are actually worth selling. I think it's also good not to force a deal, especially when you start. I definitely found myself falling into the trap of, oh, I've not bought anything today, I'll just buy something so I feel like I'm making progress. But that just resulted in wasting money and me also running out of money when I at a later date found something that really is worth purchasing. If we're going back to last October when I made my 50k profit in a single month, that all came from just sourcing in a really intelligent way, through my secret sourcing methods, but also by sourcing and focusing heavily on monthly sales and ROI. So you really want to be focusing on products that sell really well, you know, high sales per month. But I think ROI is actually even more important than this, especially when you're at a smaller scale, when you might only be working with a few £1,000s. ROI is like the main thing that's going to make the difference between you making maybe 500 quid in a month or, you know, 1,000 quid or 1,500. ROI is just your return on investment. So if you have a 20% ROI on a product that costs you £100, it would make you £20 in profit. And in that particular month, I was just really focusing on high ROI products, and I have been ever since then, and I've seen this have a really dramatic effect on my profits. Now, in terms of the more mainstream methods that I can talk about me using, I use manual sourcing, I do storefront sourcing, my VAs also use Keeper Product Finder, though for me personally, I've always found it insanely boring, so I just kind of let them deal with that. I also dabble in Amazon to Amazon sourcing as well, so this is where you're sourcing from Amazon at a lower price to then sell back onto Amazon. Usually when they've got like a discount or, you know, even just a price error, you know, sometimes Amazon just fucks up their pricing. As well as those mainstream sourcing methods, I obviously also have my own patented secret sourcing techniques, which, you know, for obvious reasons I can't reveal in this YouTube video. So the combination of those methods, you know, if you can kind of put those into play as much as possible and really just do Amazon every day, you know, it's really important that you're just consistent with this hustle and just doing it every day and making some amount of progress, you can definitely have great success. All right, so I want to talk a little bit about the actual deal analysis side of things and show you 3 products that I wouldn't buy, explain why I wouldn't buy them, and then show you 2 products that I would, and obviously explain why I would buy them. So obviously product analysis is the absolute, you know, the pillar of your Amazon FBA business. It really does matter what stock you're buying, because at the end of the day, that is just all that matters when it comes to actually how much profit you are making. You want to be buying fast selling, high ROI and high profit kind of items. We'll be using SellerAmp SaaS and Keeper to analyze all of these products. These are completely, you know, you have to have these bits of software to kind of run an Amazon business. So yeah, let's have a look at this LG monitor first of all. So these first 3 products are 3 that I wouldn't actually want to buy. So at a glance, you might be thinking, oh, this looks really good. Dip down a little bit to 169, but it's good profit and ROI. Says that it sells 40 a month, so it looks okay. But if we go down to here and we have a look at the price history, so we can see that this has been dipping down. You can see it was even at 135 not even that long ago, just a few days ago. Has had some good bits where it's at the price where it is now, it's about 170. But for the most part, over the past 3 months, you can see the price has definitely been trending around 130 quid. So if we look at 130 quid, we can see we're now making a loss. So I probably wouldn't buy this product. I think it's quite high risk like this. Yeah, there is a small chance you will actually sell it at this higher price, but I don't think you would. I think more than likely another wholesaler or someone else, or even just Amazon themselves, are gonna put the price down to 130-ish. And then you're going to be making, you know, a loss or maybe like break even if it's like high 130s. So next up, we've got this, the ordinary something solution. I don't really know what this does, but it doesn't matter at the end of the day. So we can see from this, so there's no buy box right now, which isn't great. It means that this product isn't going to be showing up in search and is going to be getting a lot less sales than it usually would. But according to SellerAmp, it still sells about 20 times a month. The profit is quite low per unit. A pound profit isn't great. The ROI is okay, it's above my minimum, but you know, could be better. If we have a look at this price chart, so we can see it's had no buy box for quite a while now. Pretty much the whole time this listing has been live, there's been no buy box, but it does actually still sell, so I'm guessing it's just linked elsewhere. You can probably find it on Google. So it does sell. We've got a couple sellers on here already, but I probably wouldn't buy this. I'm not keen on buying products that have no buy box, because they don't show up in search and generally they don't really sell that well. And though this listing actually does sell well, so it kind of, you know, breaks the mold a bit, but the profit is really low per unit. You're only making £1. It's not really gonna do much for my bank balance, an extra £1. So I'll move on from that and I'll try and find something a little bit spicier. So next up, we've got this House of Marley bookshelf speaker. It looks alright at a glance, you know, good profit and ROI, 17 quid. It's a lot better than the £1 we were making before. But the problem is this estimate, it's not very good. This product doesn't really sell very well. There's a couple other variations here. Yeah, looking at the price history, it's okay. There's a few bits where it dips down, but it's not terrible. But the main problem with this is it just doesn't really sell. But there is actually something else that you need to check. So I can see there's this seller on the listing, FKA Brands. They're really big, you know, got nearly 10,000 reviews. And if we have a look on their seller profile, we can see that they sell, so we've got House of Marley and we've got Marley, which seems to be where most of their products are listed under. So this person has, about 50 different products from this same brand. They've also got a couple other ones where they're really heavy on certain brands. Now, I would say that this is a private label listing, where if you join this listing, you're going to get kicked off it because this person controls the listing. They own this brand. I have actually looked into this brand before, and I can confirm this guy owns the brand. So if you jump on this listing, they're going to see you as competition on their own brand, and they're going to just kick you off because, for all they know, you could be selling counterfeit stock. So avoid listings like this, always check who is actually selling on it, and if the brand is on the listing, you want to be avoiding it. And then next up, we've got this Dyson Hoover. So we can see this sells 22 times a month, really good profit. ROI is okay, but 50 quid profit is pretty good per unit. We can see the pricing has also been very consistent recently at 449. There is some brief dips down here. It briefly went to like 399, which if we check our worst case scenario, we're still in profit, low margin, but we're not losing money. So for me, this looks like it would be worth the risk. Competition as well is fairly low on this listing, so definitely a solid purchase. And then finally, we've got this Valentino perfume. So we're getting this really cheap. It's like £38.97. Now there is no buy box on this listing, which is a problem, as we have seen before. If we have a look on the pricing history, we can see that it has been getting the buy box at just under the current price. It seems it's at like £83 right now, and that's just a little bit too expensive to give it the buy box. So if we drop it down to like £77, we're still making loads of money. We're making really good profit, really good ROI. It sells well. We'll get the buy box back, which will put it back into the search results. If we have a look at the competition as well, we've not really got anyone to compete with. There's no other FBA sellers on the listing, so this looks like a very solid purchase from me. You could drop down the price even further if you wanted to, if you still weren't getting a buy box back, but 77 should be enough. Really good listings. I would say that if you're trying to hit that £5,000 profit in a month, you need to be spending at least £25,000 a month on stock. If not, try and spend more. Obviously, you can only go as far as capital will allow you. But I think if you can consistently spend 25 grand a month on new stock, you should definitely be able to hit that sort of target. So next up, I want to talk about how you actually manage your inventory once you've actually bought those products and they're listed for sale and available on Amazon. So, some people like to think that you just kind of send it to Amazon and then that's it. You never think about it again, but it's not really true. You've got to adjust your pricing to kind of keep in line with the listing and just generally kind of check on stuff to make sure it's selling as quick as you would hope. So generally, when I'm kind of working out my sell price for an item, I always look at the last buy box price over the past 3 months. I'll kind of, work out roughly what my kind of worst and best case scenario is at. Whether it's, maybe there's been a brief moment where the product has dipped down to like 10% ROI, but most of the other time in the past 3 months, it's been at like 20, 30%. So I'll obviously price it at roughly the current buy box price or slightly above that. And then I'll mostly just let my repricer do its own thing and kind of figure out where to price it at. So every 30, 60 and 90 days, I like to check on inventory and just, confirm whether or not it's selling as quickly as I'd hope. See if there's anything I can do regarding like adjusting pricing or anything like that. So I just generally like to keep an eye on things, At the end of the day, I'm always running out of capital. I always need more money to buy more stock in. So if there's anything I can maybe just clear and get rid of quickly, maybe the deal's gone a bit sour and it's kind of tanked in price a bit, maybe it's worthwhile me just clearing it at a low margin and just using that money for something else. So it's always good to kind of keep an eye on your inventory and work out whether or not that is worth doing. But yeah, as I said, for the most part, my repricer does all of the hard work for me. So I use a wonderful bit of software called Ascent Repricer. There'll probably be a link down below in the description, or just Google it. So Ascent automatically reprices all of my inventory. Unlike a lot of other repricers that just kind of match the lowest price on the listing, Ascent will actually use its kind of brain to, or its computer brain to assess whether or not it can raise the prices on those listings, hence the name Ascent. It will gradually just ascend your prices. Now, by using this method, you can capture sales above the buy box, so you can actually sell above market price, and I make at least 1 to 2 grand extra per month just from the tricks that Ascent kind of pulls to get me those sales above the buy box. I really would highly recommend it, regardless of kind of what scale you're at with your Amazon business. If you're selling at least like 30 to 50 products in stock, it's going to start to become quite hard to track all of those and keep prices in line. So go sign up to Ascent. There will be a free trial link, as I said. So yeah, go check it out, see how much additional profit it can make you. Next up, I want to talk about outsourcing. So I'd say outsourcing is definitely a necessary step for you to hit a £5,000 profit month. You know, it's going to be very, very hard to do that, completely running it as like a one-man band sort of scenario where you're doing absolutely everything. Outsourcing, thankfully, is really, really easy with Amazon, and there's a few different ways you can do it. I would say that as a beginner, one of the biggest things that's going to be holding you back is your time management and how much time you're spending on various lower ROI tasks. So firstly, there's prep. So prep is a term given to, you know, you receiving the item from a retailer, you putting the labels on it, you packing it up in a big box, and you sending it to Amazon. So it sounds simple, but this task can take hours if you have a lot of units, particularly like most beginners, usually selling a lot of low ticket beauty items, stuff like that. These can just take ages. I mean, there was one point when I first started my Amazon business a few months in where I literally spent several weeks just prepping every single day, and I wasn't really even buying in more stock because I just didn't have the time. Thankfully, something called a prep center exists. So there are loads of prep centers. I'll have a few recommendations up here for the companies that I've used in the past. Prep centers will receive all of your stock for you. They'll unpack it, they'll label it, they'll do that whole process, and all for the price of an average of about 50p per unit. So it's extremely affordable and also saves you from any, you know, large monthly costs such as renting a unit, a warehouse, that kind of thing, which is definitely something I would advise against. I mean, I've seen way too many people that are doing like 5k profit a month, which is good, but if you're spending 2.5 of that 5k you're making each month on just rent on a warehouse, that is crazy. There is so much stuff that I just do not have to think about because I've outsourced it, and all I have to do is make sure my spreadsheet is up to date with the prep center and they handle the rest. Next up, I want to talk about outsourcing the actual product research. So, you know, all that time that you spend manual sourcing and stuff, you can reclaim that by outsourcing it to a VA or a virtual assistant. So a VA is typically an employee that you have that is based in a country such as the Philippines. Philippines is like 99% of VAs that I've met have been based in the Philippines for some reason. And because obviously wages in the Philippines are a lot lower and they're able to work remotely, you can afford to pay them like £350 per month, and that is a really good wage for them. And then they can be product researching for you, you know, 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, and they will be able to find you lots and lots of deals that will hopefully earn you profits in thousands. But that one sourcing VA is consistently finding me at least £50,000 worth of deals that I can buy each month. You know, some months he has found me up to £100,000 worth of profitable deals. So, you know, at that point it gets to the point of how do I even afford to buy all this good stuff? And all that is from just paying him, you know, I pay him well, I pay him bonuses and stuff, but on average it's about £1,000 to £2,000 per month that I pay him. And that is netting me upwards of £10,000 profit per month. So it's definitely worthwhile. And by outsourcing this step, it allows me to just spend more time, you know, doing stuff like this, making YouTube videos, just living life, going on holiday all the time, just generally enjoying myself and not having to be at my desk, at a computer 24/7 in the search of products. And finally, I want to close off by talking about the path to £5,000 profit month. So once you've implemented all these techniques and you're scaling well and you're sourcing lots of products, the best thing you can do is just invest heavily into Amazon. Amazon is an extremely capital intensive business. You know, as I said at the start of this video, the more money you can put in and the more stock you can buy, the more stock you're going to be able to sell and the more money you're going to get out of the business. I always see businesses as money-making machines. I don't know if you ever did like number machines in maths as a child or anything like that, but it's like you just put money into something and you get back a return. And you know, the more money you can put into that machine, the more money you're going to be able to get out with that return adjusted. I would say as an average general figure, now obviously it's hard to say this because there's a lot of different factors with Amazon FBA, and if you're sourcing, you know, low ROI, just generally bad inventory, this isn't going to apply to you. But if you're sourcing fast selling, high ROI inventory, you can easily do 10% on your money within a month, if not higher, depending on the sort of margins that you're going for. Now, if you want to hit £5,000 profit a month, I would say that based on my own experience, it would be good to have at least £50,000 invested in stock. That way, you know, 10% of 50,000 is obviously 5,000, and that can be the rough, you know, profit figure that you can be expecting from that inventory. Now, you might be watching this and you might be thinking, damn, I do not even have £50,000, so how am I going to make this work? But compound interest is a real thing. You know, you can just kind of keep as much money in the business as possible, and the longer that you kind of play the game, the quicker you're going to be able to scale to making that sort of return. Look up a compound interest calculator on Google, type in 10% monthly, type in that you compound your results monthly, And then from that, you'll be able to enter in your own figure of starting capital and figure out roughly how long it's going to be taking you to get to a point where you are making £5,000 a month. It can happen a lot quicker than this as well. It's just all about purchasing high margin inventory. And also, of course, you can use credit cards, you can use business loans. There are all sorts of ways to secure in more capital to spend on your inventory. I myself have like 5 different credit cards, all maxed out, and I feel perfectly fine about doing that because I know that I have a tried and tested business model that's been making me money for a long time now. And I think it's definitely one piece of advice that rich people always give you, that the smartest thing you can do is use someone else's money to make you more money. So if I can, max out some credit cards for a bit and use the bank's money to make me loads of money before paying it back with no interest, that is a perfectly good plan to me. And finally, you just have to keep in mind that the inventory that you are buying will make or break your Amazon business. You need fast selling inventory, you need it to be high margin and high profit. If you're going to be buying low ROI, slow selling inventory, it's just simply not going to work. You're not going to be able to scale your Amazon FBA business to those kind of numbers. And eventually you may just completely fail because your inventory is just simply not good enough. You need to be finding the deals that nobody else is finding. You need to be using unique sourcing methods, and you need to be, staying away from the crowds where you're not just sourcing the same thing as 100 other people. You've got to be finding the products that no one else is really finding. So there you have it. That is exactly how you can start your own Amazon FBA business. Now, if you do follow everything I've said in this video, the information I've given you genuinely has the power to change your life. And I'm not, overhyping that, it really can. This is the exact strategy that has helped me generate £104,000 in just the last 3 months alone, working literally just 1 or 2 hours per day on this business. But not only that, this same system has helped my Amazon FBA students in my mentorship program consistently hit over £5,000 in profit on Amazon. And honestly, the sky is the limit. I mean, one of my students, Sam, he made over £62,000 in profit in 1 month last year. 1 month. And that's even more than my own personal record. So you now have 2 choices, right? You can try and scale your own Amazon FBA business yourself. You can suffer through the long periods of trial and error whilst you improve your sourcing and your inventory management methods. Or you can fast track your success by learning directly from me, someone who's not only scaled up to £50,000 profit months, but has also helped scale others to consistent 5K profit months using my exact blueprint. So if you're serious about building your Amazon FBA business, I offer a really complete mentorship program. This includes a comprehensive 6-hour-long video course. It will have personal one-to-one coaching calls with me. You'll also get weekly group coaching sessions, as well as access to my expert sourcing team's exclusive product leads. So if you're interested in that, head down to the video description and click the first link where you can learn more and book a free strategy call from me, where I'm going to be able to personally evaluate where you're at with your Amazon FBA journey and see if you would be a good fit for the mentorship program. So if you did find value in this video, I'd really appreciate if you head down below and hit the like button and subscribe if you want to see more Amazon FBA content from me. Finally, make sure you also check out my free 1-hour Amazon course by clicking here for an even deeper dive into how you can start and scale your own Amazon FBA business.